Today I fucked up streaming to Reddit. So to set the scene on my today I fucked up, I, 37M, was doing my semi-regular streaming whilst out with the kids and dog. We do this fairly often and take questions from across world either directed to me or my kids. Today we were at a local country park, and I figured I'd get the kids and I some refreshments. All okay so far. I go to pay on card, but wait, where is the camera facing? Yep, you guessed it. Right, cutie, the card, which I happen to flip over having realized, now showing my security details too. I think it's okay, maybe my hand obscured it. Nope. The good part of this community is I got a DM immediately from a watcher noting my card details, almost perfectly. My hope of a glitchy, poor resolution stream at that moment was foiled by 4 grams, and high camera resolution. FML. Luckily again I was able to freeze my debit card 3 days before Christmas. Yep, so can't access my money until I get a new card, got to update all the payment options I have for any subscriptions etc, any autofill forms for payment. All for 2 to 3 seconds of streaming. Deleted stream and thanked user who contacted me. Too long didn't read, streaming to Reddit. Paid by card. Flashed card to Reddit. I'm an idiot. Streaming to Reddit is a mistake in itself, lol. And this is why you should always have more than one card with one secure and separate. Means you have one to use when you cancel one. Yeah, managed to sort out transfer to a credit card, but that April feels like stupidity tax. I don't have cards that allow me to pay straight without e-bank confirmation. Does your bank not offer such services? That's something I'd never considered. I feel for ya, man. So, wanna send those new details so I can make sure everything works fine? Smile. Yo, give me the card details so I can make sure your money is there. It's okay, I've sent it to Uganda. Apparently it will allow me to claim the 73 million they have waiting for me. Today I fucked up by renting my car on Turo and was instantly transported into an episode of Shameless. So we bought a new vehicle this summer and have not used the other car we had since I work from home and my wife stays home as well. I tried to sell it, but we're upside down. Whatever. Last week, I had this genius idea to put it up on Turo. If you don't know, Turo is an app where you can rent out your car. Figured that a few rentals a month would cover the car payment. I created a listing for the car in the app and got it registered, cleaned, and disinfected so it'd be ready in case I got a reservation. I made sure all of the paperwork was in the car and our personal belongings were out. I filled up the gas tank. I thought I'd for sure get a great review if I had both phone type charger cables in the car. Damn, I'm good. I thought of everything. Ow. My wife was not on board for this. She didn't like the idea of strangers using our car. I figured since we don't use it or need it and that it's insured, the worst case scenario was manageable. We recently watched the Will Ferrell/Mark Wahlberg movie The Other Guys, and my wife seemed oddly fixated on the fact that someone would allow a homeless orgy in our car if we rented it out. On Thursday I got my first reservation and was stoked. Now, the red flags were numerous, but I ignored them unfortunately. The renter immediately contacted me and asked to move the reservation to an earlier time, from about 4 hours away to about 30 minutes away at 7:30 p.m. They also asked if I would deliver it. Being excited for the beginning of my new money-making scheme, I agreed. I arranged for my son to follow me to deliver the car and we dropped it off with the lady who reserved it. She assured me that she would take care of the car and that she would just be driving around town. It wasn't in the nicest neighborhood, but this is Utah. The worst neighborhoods in Utah are still much nicer than where I grew up in NW, Indiana. I don't judge. So, as my son and I began to drive home and joked about all the bad things that could happen, my wife calls and asks if I had seen the email from Turo. Obviously I had not checked my email while I was driving. She went on to tell me that Turo's verification team had sent an email saying that they had additional information that necessitated canceling the trip to ensure my safety and the car's safety. This email came 10 minutes after the revised Trip start time. I wrote them back and let them know that I had already transferred the car and asked if I needed to do anything. They replied not to worry. The guest was just going through a routine check and that my earnings would not be affected and that no action was required in my part. Fast forward to 3:30 p.m. Friday. A knock on my door from a police officer. Great. Now I'd have to hear the dreaded "I told you so" from my wife. The officer asks if I own the car and proceeds to tell me that they arrested a wanted fugitive in it and I had to pick it up after they were done searching it. I've seen what they do to cars looking for drugs. It's not pretty. Once I got the call to go get it, the cop explained that nothing was broken, but few panels were removed. He ended the call by saying, "Good luck, man." I drove to the location where they left it, which oddly, was at the residence they picked the dude up, which was a bit uncomfortable. Luckily there was no real damage. I was able to pop the panels back in easily. There were a few personal items in the car that were not mine: a hat, shoes, a bottle of something, some garbage, and a bunch of cigarettes. I left them in the parking lot as I just wanted to be done with this whole thing. I did notice that the gas tank was half empty and they had put over 400 miles on the car in under 20 hours. It also smelled like smoke. Annoying, but I used to smoke, so whatever. It's over. Nope. I get home and call Turo to see what to do. There were still 2 days on the reservation. That was a nightmare. They transferred me back and forth between departments and chat and email after explaining that my car had been used to traffic drugs and the unapproved driver had been arrested. Towards the end of the call, all I wanted was to ensure that the renter could not see my address and info, as I had no idea what was going on and who this wanted fugitive was. After 2 hours of this, someone finally assured me that the renter could not see my info. While I was on with Turo support, the lady who rented the car texted me and asked what was going on. I gave her a short version and she asked if I was bringing the car back. I declined. We went on a whole story about how someone she knows stole the car, and now she wants a refund. She put in for a change to the reservation for the 1 day. I accepted that. So now I got a whopping $31 for this, which doesn't cover the gas missing from the car and the several trips I made to deliver the car and to recover the car. Now she wants me to bring her the personal belongings that I left there. I said no and told her where I left them. I asked her if we could be done at this point. This morning I look at the app as they're sending me emails to finalize the trip. So I fill out the form marking $20 for gas and $50 for smoke damage on the reimbursement section. Then I get a call from the police telling me to come back down there to pick up the insurance card, registration, and keys. So I go down there again, and while I'm waiting for the officer to show up, she texts me again complaining about how I charged her an extra $80 and how she wants a refund. It's not her fault. I left her personal belongings in the road. Blah blah blah. The officer shows up and gives me my stuff. He then explains how the gentleman they arrested was the most wanted fugitive in the county. I asked if he just had a bag of weed or it was something more. The officer told me they found a lot, while his eyes got huge, of drugs, pipes, weapons, and stuff in my car. I then asked if I need worry about needles still being in my car. His response was, "Be careful." I get home and try to work out with the lady her refund. We came to the agreement that I should be compensated $110, $30 for the day rental, $20 for the gas, $50 for the smoke. She said Turo would be contacting me about the refund. I reiterated to them via email that she should be refunded anything beyond my $110 compensation. They refunded her out of my $110 compensation. So now I get a whopping $46.44 for all of this because their support is so incredibly incompetent. To boot, they sent an email finalizing the trip with a nice map of where my house is. They also have no regard for the personal safety of their hosts. Too long didn't read. I rented my car on Turo and it was used to traffic drugs. Turo support success. Edit. Spelling. Edit. I got a call this morning from an exec at Turo. Apparently the CEO got wind of this by reading the review emails were sent in and made someone call me. While the situation sucked, I feel they at least deserve credit for reaching out. They apologized and said they are working on fixing things that contributed to this. They also offered to pay for my car cleaning. Why would you refund her anything? For all you know, she's in on it. Besides, wasn't the car her responsibility while she was renting? I would not have even responded to her texts. I would have never even been in contact with her again and absolutely no refund. Also, why are you buying a new car when you have an upside down loan on a car you're not even using? Isn't your address usually on the car registration anyway? It is, and if I was to rent my car out I'd look into getting a PO box and making that the address on my registration. Scary stuff. I am absolutely shocked that a company like that has so little respect for customer privacy. Actually very scary. Shocking to see that have no idea who's using them either. Heavily delayed response time too? Geez, it should be reported to something. As a former car rental agency employee I can say drug dealers are really the ones keeping the rental business alive. Today I fucked up by thinking I had period cramps. Sorry for any spelling issues, I'm dyslexic. This started about 1 week ago, so not today. I was going about my daily tasks as I usually do, but it happened to be time for my period again. Tend to get some cramps, but not very severe ones. This time however, I noticed that it was worse than usual. It hurt to twist even a little to the side. I thought it was normal because some of my friends say that they have really bad cramps like this. Ignored it. This was the heart of my FU. After a couple hours, I noticed that it was getting real unbearable. After a few minutes of lying on my bed I was unable to even move without feeling like I was being stabbed. I finally decided to ask my mom to take me to the ER. By the time it was my turn I could barely walk and my mom was almost carrying me. I was informed that my appendix had burst and I needed surgery. If I had not ignored the pains earlier, I would probably not have needed the surgery. Anyways, I'm mostly better now. Too long didn't read. Ignored cramps because I thought they were from my period. Ended up in the hospital for an appendectomy. I've heard this happens to a decent amount of women, as in I've heard this story happen to someone else on the internet and would likely make the same fuck up. Reason number 17,897,348 that it sucks to be female. Period cramps really can be that painful for many women, so sometimes we ignore what would be warning signs for men. At least the appendix doesn't grow back, so you won't have a repeat of this. And you had the sense to go to hospital in the end. I'm glad you're doing better now. Just to placate you a bit, you more likely than not still would have needed the appendectomy even if it hadn't ruptured. Once your appendix gets inflamed to the point it's risking a rupture, it comes out. Oh thanks. It is kinda nice to hear that I didn't fully F up. Ouch, I hope you get well soon. Also your spelling is great. Thanks. I'm glad my spelling is good. Glad you're okay, and good for you for going to the ER. My godchildren's father's appendix burst, and he died in his bed because he refused to go to the doctor. Not something you want to chance. Dear God, that's scary. I'm sorry for your loss.